everyone, it's Bobby from Decoding here, and this is the 29th video in the Building and Launching a Real Django website series. So, final piece of the puzzle. We are about to move our code base over to our server, which is hosted on DigitalOcean, and we'll be using MobileXterm to do that. I've got a video that was earlier on in the series, it's just up here, that shows you how to configure MobileXterm. I've also got another video in my YouTube channel that shows you how to install MobileXterm and get it all set up with SSH keys. So please watch those videos because you'll get caught up and you'll be able to do this video, or certainly watch this video and follow along. So, last piece of the project before our website is live and we can move away from a coming soon page. So let's jump straight into it. Look at the screen. I've already got MobileXterm fired up. I've SSH'd to the server, and yeah, let's crack on, shall we? So what we need to do, we need to navigate in our SFTP panel here. So you go into Home, go into Bobby, don't know what you've called yours, probably John, Dave, whatever the case may be. Go into your folder, and we'll go into did demo, okay? And this is the directory that we've got currently on the server. So let me open a browser, and I'll visit diddemo.com. We should have a coming soon page. Our website is nearly finished, please come back later. Get off that, close that down. There we go, so that is the website. Ugly, right? But that is where we got to early on in the project, and we just left it there, which, you know, it's neither here nor there really. It only took us a few hours to get to this point, although the YouTube series has taken longer to film it. So, if we go to MobileXterm now, what we now need to do is we need to, and you need to be careful here, it's not a case of just taking the whole directory that you've got on your local server and dragging it across to the SFTP panel. Because if you do that, if you remember, we've changed the settings file, we've changed some configurations in the URL conf. If you were to do that, you are going to mess up all of that work. Also, in your requirements, we don't need the PsychoPG2, we're using PsychoPG2 binary. So, you need to be very careful, okay? Don't be messing around just dragging everything. We'll be very selective. So let's open up my directory here. We don't drag requirements, okay? And if we do, we then open requirements back in the MobileXterm, and we remove the PsychoPG. So what we'll do is settings INI, drag that across because we've got new settings in there, right? So we've got settings for reCAPTCHA, Google reCAPTCHA. That's in. Manage PY, don't need that. Templates. Well, we changed the templates, right? Well, I certainly did. So I've used new templates that I've downloaded from the web, and I've got different coming soon and maintenance and everything else pages. So I'm going to drag that across. Okay, static. Well, we have got new static files, okay? This will take some time. So I'm going to drag it across. I might pause the video. It still hasn't finished, by the way, but I thought whilst that's going along, I can probably chatter that, yeah, it's going to take another minute or so. So yeah, when you drag your static, especially when you've downloaded one the size of mine, unless you've got a great connection, it can take ages to do it. So just drag it across. You can see that I'm about halfway through. I've got 900 files on my assets. Just bear in mind that we're going to have to use the Python manage.py collect static to move them from our static root to the static CDN, which is actually now spaces on DigitalOcean. So this is why we drag the static across. So that's really chugging away now, we're nearly done. Then we will want our media CDN. We won't need that. We won't drag that across, we don't need that. We will need main, so we'll drag that across when that's finished. 3, 2, 1. There we have it. Right, so that's now done. We'll drag main, so we don't need to worry about any configuration in there because that is just a module, it's just an app that we've just added. There's no settings or anything in there. Although it won't work unless we make migrations in the actual server because we've pip installed a whole bunch of packages, right? So we need to make sure we pip install, we need to make sure we make migrations. Where we won't have to make migrations because we've just dragged the migrations across, which is another thing you've got to be careful of actually, because there could be some conflicted migrations. So yeah, we'll see if that's going to work. That could cause us a problem, but if it does, we can fix it, right? It's not a problem at all. We don't want to drag jobs across. We don't need the fancy HTML across, so that's just in our local drive. And then if you open up did demo there, what we now need to do is we need to drag across our context processor because that's a fresh file. We need to drag across no, we don't need our DB router, that's already in there. Maintenance mode state is there. Settings and URLs and views and WSGI, they're as they were. So what we'll do now is we will open up, first and foremost before we do this, let's open up requirements. I don't want to forget to do this. This is important, don't forget because it just won't work. Okay, it's on my other screen. So you can see that we've got hardly anything in there. Right, what we haven't done locally is actually use pip freeze, so we'll do that quickly, okay, because else it really won't work. So go back into your CMD and just crash out of that, and we'll go pip freeze, and we go requirements.txt. We open up our requirements locally now. That should have a hell of a lot of stuff in there, right? It has. So now we can drag that over to the project, sorry, the main server. Drag that across. That's now there, and now we can open it. When it opens this time, there's a lot more in there, which is what I was expecting the first time. But we need to remember, if you remember, we've got the binary version already installed on the server. So remove PsychoPG2, we don't need it, and save. There's nothing else we need to do on there. So click yes. Now we need to go into did demo, or your main directory. We need to open up URLs. And if we open up URLs in our Sublime Text or in our text editor, did demo URLs. If you remember, we've added a whole bunch of stuff to it. But we have removed media from the bottom here, so everything else can stay, but just copy everything across above the media URL setting at the bottom here. We don't want that. That's the only configuration change. So just making sure that we've got everything in here. There we have it, right. So we can now paste that and save it. It should work, just double check. Yeah, that looks good. Close that off. And now we want to do something similar with settings. Settings.py. We need to handle the settings.py file in the production server with kid gloves, because we are always tweaking the settings, and if you mess them up, it could cause all sorts of problems. So where are we? Settings.py, right. Okay, no changes there. Sitemaps modules, just double check. So we've got down to storages there. Oh, there's a whole bunch of stuff that we've added in here that we haven't got in our local. So what have we got? Maintenance, so OTP, maintenance mode, fine, and we've got sites and maps. And in the production, we've got storages, so we don't need to change anything there. Maintenance mode, middleware, no changes. Templates, we did add some changes here. We added, if you remember, this context processor, so we'll add that into settings, just underneath this one here. There we go, stick a comma there, just save. So save as you go, that's what I tend to do. And then we'll scroll down in here again, keep going, no changes in the database, we've got that all set up nicely. Database routers are already set up in the server, so no changes there. Down, 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 all of this is the same. Remember, these static files, that is different now in the server, so it will look different, but you don't make any changes to the static files. We've got it perfect on the server. So what we will need, however, is we will need these settings here. So we'll copy that. And at the bottom of our settings file, I'll just scroll down here. Actually, there's more that we need to set. So let me go back in here. Oh yeah, because we've got the API, right? So we need this as well. So copy. We'll paste that at the bottom. Sorry, I'm doing it right at the bottom of the screen. So yeah, so we've got the Google API key here, we've got the API service name. So this was the stuff that we were doing in the YouTube video, so a link to that is up here. And then we've got the reCAPTCHA public key and private key that we were doing a couple of videos ago when we were doing the contact form. So now, the settings file, the requirements, I believe that's everything done. So we'll close these down. Just looking at the server quickly, just in case there's nothing, just in case there's stuff that's going to really cause us problems. What I'm going to do, I'm just going to look into the main, because the one I'm worried about is the migrations, because we made a whole bunch of migrations in when we were playing around in the development server, sorry, on a local machine. I just want to make sure that the migrations that we've made, so if I look in initial, yeah, that looks like what we had initially, so that's good. I'm going to give it a go and see how we get on. We're going to suck it and see. So what we need to do, we need to make sure that we restart GUnicorn. So how we do that is service did demo restart. And then what we want to do is we want to fire up our virtual environment in the production server. So we want to CD into home, Bobby, did demo dir, right? And then we go source, did demo env, bin, activate. So the first thing we want to do is we want to add the extra requirements. So pip install requirements txt. It's not liking that. Where are we? So did demo dir. There it is. Have I called it? Oh, it's requirement. It's requirements. That's why. Okay, so now it's installing everything we need it to install. That is, so we're now mirroring what we've got in the development server on our local machine. Now we want to, let me just think what we're doing here. So we brought in the requirements. We now need to make migrations. We don't actually, the migrations are already there. So we now need to migrate. So Python manage.py migrate database equals main DB. Okay, and we'll do the same for user DB as well. That's worked. Okay, and now that should be it. Now we need to use a command called collect static. So Python manage.py collect static. So what have we got? How many files? You request to collect static files from yeah, so we need to now move them across. And what that will do, unable to locate credentials. Botto core, no credentials. Hold on a second. Right, so I've just done something that I told you not to do. So when dragging things across, you're in danger of just copying over the previous stuff in there. And one of the things I did is I dragged over my settings.ini file. So the settings.ini file that is in a production server is different to that I've got on my development server. So, and which is silly in anyway, but the one that's on production has got my AWS key. So if you remember, we set up some keys in DigitalOcean. The link to that video is up here. So I can't remember what those keys are. I'll probably have to set up 2 new keys, but that won't take me a second. I'm going to do that off camera, save them in there, and we should be good to go. So hold the phone caller. Okay, all done. That was nice and easy. Just went on the DigitalOcean, went on API in the bottom left of the screen, regenerated my API keys, got the keys, saved them into my INI file. Brilliant. So what I'll do quickly, just to make sure that's all gone, that it's all working okay, I would just quickly restart GUnicorn, and then I will add the same command again. collect static. It'll ask me yes. Will it work? That's working. I know it's working because it's taken a few seconds to do it. So I think we are good. We might need to just quickly restart Nginx, which we will do as soon as that's done that. So every time you make a change to the production server, right, for it to trigger on the actual main website, you need to restart GUnicorn, green unicorn, and you need to restart your Nginx as well. And then it'll all trigger into the front end. If you don't do that, you won't see the changes. As simple as that, really. So once all of these static files have been moved over to DigitalOcean onto the spaces, I will restart GUnicorn again, just out of habit, and I'll also restart Nginx, just because that's the order you normally do it. And we'll look on the main website, and we might have to turn off maintenance mode, and when we do that, we're good to go, right? So let's wait and see. Okay, that looked like it worked. So it said it's copied over 894 static files over to DigitalOcean. So happy days, 128 of them weren't modified. That's about right, okay? So we've got the admin files and images there. So that's all good, I'm quite happy with that. Now what we do is we restart did demo, and then what we do is restart Nginx. So it's sudo systemctl restart Nginx, and we should be good to go. So moment of truth, let's have a look at our website, did demo, internal server error. I love it when this happens. Right, 1 second. So I don't know what the problem is. I thought I'd just show you what I'm going to do to debug it. So go into the settings file, add true to debug, save, go back into your mobile extern, restart did demo. So that change is now live. We go back in the browser. It should now give us a error screen. It's not for some reason. It's because I probably haven't made the save there. So save. Yeah, there we go, save. And if we go back into the browser, there we go. So we've got latest media reference before assignment. Right, okay, and the reason being, do you know why this is? I had this when I was playing around in the other, I had another environment set up for testing to make sure everything worked. The API, so it's basically my code, right? So the latest media in the context processor is looking for latest media. So it's actually looking for objects in the media database. So the media objects in the database, right? So there aren't any because the YouTube API hasn't been called yet. It goes every 20 minutes. So I could change the code, and I probably do need to change the code. That is what you should do, because you shouldn't be running into these errors. You shouldn't have this problem on a production site. So I'll change that outside of this video. But what I'll do just for now is I will run YouTube API manually using mobile extern. So we've already got the virtual environment set up. So we go Python manage.py shell. .py shell. And then we'll go from jobs.jobs import YouTube, and go YouTube and .get data, press enter. What's happening here? Google API client, the provider API key has an IP address restriction. There you go. So in case you did get my API key, I've got that API key has been used for my local machine. I'm now making a call to that API key, the Google API key, using my IP address, which is 138.68.141.8. I'm probably going to change that IP address, by the way, in outside of this video, so because there's a lot of sensitive data that I don't really want out there in the world. So I will change the API key on Google quickly. So if we go to my browser, so let's go here, and we'll go to Google Cloud Console, and that will open up. So decoding. Where do I go? Activity, marketplace, APIs and services. Here we go. So yeah, YouTube's had quite a lot of requests. So we're going to credentials on the left here, and I'll come up with my API key. This is my API key here. You can see I've got API. This is my, I will blur that out. These are my IP addresses. So if I edit this, add an item. So I will add my IP address is 138.68, 138.68, 0.141.8, 0.141.8, done. Save. Okay, back into my Rex term. Let's try that again. There we go, it worked that time. I love it when it works. So I've just manually called the YouTube API, a bit naughty because my code isn't quite right. So in the context processor outside of this video, I just make a quick tweak. So I might have a get or create, or I'll have a, I'll just play around with it so that it doesn't happen again. Not that it will happen again, but really you need to code it correctly in the first place. So what we'll do, we will quit our shell. We will restart Unicorn. Good habit to get into. Restart Nginx. And if we now visit the website again, it's doing something. I like this, right? It's going to load up and come back soon. So that, yeah, our website is nearly finished. So we now need to turn that off. I'll go into maintenance mode state.txt, and it's currently saying it's on. So do you know what? We'll change that to off. Well, I've put in a 0, so it's just binary. On, off, save that. Yes. And if we now restart Unicorn, you probably don't need to in this instance, but I'll do it anyway. Hopefully now. There we go, happy days. What we'll do before we forget, and don't ever forget to do this, always change your debug to false. It keeps the toe rags from seeing your information. So we will restart that. We'll update our, so we'll restart Nginx as well, and then we'll update our browser, and that is the end of this series. I'll do one more video later on today or maybe next week, just kind of rounding it off so I can give you an update of all of the steps that we've done, and just kind of just end it really, just bookend it off. But this is, I think you'll agree that the website looks decent. It really does. This is for demonstration purposes only, but I'm quite happy with this website. We've got a home page, we've got an about and media, so we go on a media, click on any of these, it will come up with a media player, okay, which is great. You've got the play button in this one. Remember we had to add that. We've also got a link here as well, so if you click that, that'll be the most recent video that I've launched. Actually, setting up a new project. Actually, that's probably the first video. I might need to change the code on that. So look, this whole series was all about building a Django website from the ground up, and that is exactly what we've done. There are some bits of code that I need to tweak because it's not quite right, but this project is going to be different to your project. So what I'm tweaking won't be the same as what you're tweaking, but as the project evolves, you will find that some of the code needs tweaking, you'll find that some links don't work. Just do what we did in this video. Just go into your code base, make the tweak, drag across just the file that you've changed, update Unicorn, update Nginx, all good. If you start dragging across directories, you'll have the problems that I faced in this video, right? So you overwrite what was already there and you run into a whole bunch of issues. Anyway, we're done. Let's bookend it. I'm so happy we got to the end of this project. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you've enjoyed the journey. If you would like to support Did Coding moving forward, there's a link to my Patreon page in the description below. Pledges are massively welcomed. It will help us create more content faster, and it will be of a higher quality, which can't be a bad thing, right? So if this is the first time to my channel, please subscribe, please like, please share the content, and I will be seeing you in the next video. Thank you.